The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a great rookie minicamp. Training camp is coming up here before we know it, and this is a team that made some major changes over the offseason. Obviously, it's kind of a strange situation right now because nobody really knows what's going on with the quarterback room. I love Will Howard, but it would be very delusional of me to act like he's going to come in year one and dominate and lead the Steelers to big things right away. But the Steelers under Mike Tomlin just don't have losing seasons. But as I've said in both of my previous Steelers videos I've made over the last month, this offseason kind of felt like a reset. Aaron Rodgers or not, I like what the front office did because an overhaul was necessary. Getting rid of Pickens was necessary. I love seeing them get Sawyer late in the draft because when I look at him, he is just a Steelers type of player. And him being able to shadow TJ Watt is going to be huge for his growth. I think the Steelers really are building a new core, and then next offseason, they can really cash in and become a contender if all the pieces fall into place, because the Steelers had a dang near perfect draft in my opinion. They did not make any panicked decisions. They just went best available on their board from start to finish. And even though I said Will Howard is not necessarily a franchise changer, he can be a successful game manager, and he can get the ball into the hands of your playmakers like we saw him do at Ohio State. Honestly, Howard has a more proven track record than any quarterback that was taken in this year's draft. He literally led the Buckeyes to a national championship for 4 straight games in the bright lights. He played near perfect football, and he made a couple of elite throws that made you think he was NFL ready. So Will Howard is an intriguing pick to say the least, and I want to break down who he is as a quarterback, how he can improve, the numbers, all that kind of stuff later in this video if I have a chance to get to it. And of course I want to talk about this team position by position and break down what the Steelers and Tomlin has to work with. And we just found out the new schedule, so I'll talk about and react to that and so much more. But first, before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so I guess to start off in just random order, let's talk about what this Steelers backfield now looks like after the long-awaited departure of Najee Harris. Right now, the Steelers don't have like elite top-end talent at running back, but they are deep and have options. Actually, Jaylen Warren could make himself into a top 10 running back in the league with this new opportunity, but he still has to do it. So for now, I just view him as a high upside player, but behind him is Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, Kenneth Gainwell, who many remember from his Seattle days, and then Trey Sermon, the former Ohio State Buckeye. I think Johnson is going to have a lot of early opportunity to showcase who he is, but if I were to bet on it, Warren will end the season with the most carries. But the backfield is definitely a nice mix of players that can provide a lot of different skill sets, and with a quarterback room that has to prove itself, having a balanced running attack can be huge. In terms of the wide receiving core, things get a lot more interesting after the Pickens trade. Obviously, losing Pickens is a big blow in terms of the talent loss, but the reason why the Steelers never have losing seasons is because of the winning culture that Mike Tomlin has built in the locker room. It doesn't matter how talented you are, if you act up and cause issues off the field, the leash is short. And for Pickens, enough was enough, but I can't put 100% of the blame on George because it had to be frustrating going out there with inconsistent quarterback play. So I think it was good for both sides to part ways and move on to a new opportunity. In the meantime, the Steelers front office did make a big move to negate this loss in trading for DK Metcalf, a guy who provides a lot of similar value to what Pickens did and a guy with a proven track record. DK is definitely one of the bigger names and brands in the NFL, and he is a guy that in 6 seasons has never been below 900 yards receiving, and outside of just his numbers, he makes winning plays. I think most of us remember that one play where he sprinted down the field to track down Budda Baker after that interception, preventing the pick six. Guys who make effort plays like that are exactly what Mike Tomlin wants on his team. But even outside of Metcalf, the rest of the receiving core is pretty interesting, and they are going to have a lot to prove. Robert Woods is definitely on the back end of his career, but he is a vet with experience. It's crazy that 2018 and 19 was 6 years ago, but back then on the Rams, he would consistently put up seasons of over 1,000 yards receiving. Calvin Austin is still young at 26 years old, and he has shown a lot of promise and upside from time to time. He finished last season with 548 yards and 4 touchdowns. For him, it's just about consistency, and he is another one of those guys that we are all just waiting to see play with a good quarterback throwing him the ball, and maybe this is the year that will be fixed. Maybe it won't be, who knows at this point. Outside of those 3, there's Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and a few others, but one of the main reasons why I would not be too worried about the Steelers receiving core is because of what the Steelers got at tight end. Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington are both guys that could lead the team in targets if they had to, especially Pat. Obviously DK is going to, but Pat at this point in his career is a reliable pass catcher, and as a tight end, he of course can do everything else like blocking and being a decoy. Now for the offensive line, which is going to be the thing and the unit that makes all the gears turn, or the thing that holds everything back in 2025, people are all over the place with their analysis of what this line is. The O-line showed growth and resolve despite a bunch of injuries in 2024. Center Zach Frazier and guard Mason McCormick looked like they could become the next Pouncey and David DeCastro after stellar rookie seasons. If Troy Fautanu lives up to his pre-draft expectations following knee surgery, then the offensive line should make significant strides in 2025. Unfortunately though, left tackle is the biggest question mark for Pittsburgh's O-line. The play of Broderick Jones will determine just how high of a ceiling this young line can reach. Alright, now switching over to the defensive side of things, I am very much looking forward to seeing what Sawyer and TJ Watt can do together, because I just get the same type of vibe from each of them. Obviously TJ is already polished, and we know what we're going to get out of him, and Sawyer has not done anything yet, and was a later round pick, but I think he was an absolute steal, great value. In the secondary, there are also just so many key pieces that have in the past and will continue to help this defense thrive and be a nightmare for everyone in the AFC. Patrick Queen, Alex Highsmith, Darius Slay, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State, so many guys that I can name and so many contributors. Now really quick in terms of schedule, I think we all know in the recent past, the Steelers have kind of been set up for failure with very extremely unbalanced slates, playing all the easy games up front and having like 6 straight games against contenders to end the year. Well, 2025 is a little bit better, but still there are a lot more challenging games than there are so-called easy ones. The Steelers will open the season up against their former quarterback in Justin Fields when they go on the road to take on the Jets. But that's a game the Steelers definitely can and almost have to win to set the tone for what they want this upcoming season to be. Then they host the new-look Seahawks, and then they play the Patriots on the road. So that is a real opportunity to start the season off 3-0, or at the very least 2-1, because the first big test of the season will happen in Week 4 against JJ McCarthy and a Minnesota Vikings team that only lost 2 regular season games last year. And then after that is a lot of AFC North matchups. I think how the Browns end up being will really determine how tough the Steelers' schedule is this year, because the quarterback situation in Cleveland is crazy right now, and it's impossible to know what to expect outside of their past trends of being awful. But yeah, man, the Steelers have a big opportunity in 2025 to build up this new foundation and this new direction that they want to go towards. It's the perfect opportunity for some of these new draft picks and new players to prove themselves, and it really would be impressive for Mike Tomlin to find a way to make the playoffs again with this new look squad. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Let me know in the comments below what your expectations are for this team in 2025. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because your support really does help me out so much and it means the world. And also let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.